Hello everybody, welcome to Tally Talks Bible. This is going to be my second video and I'm going to continue on with Genesis and talk about Genesis 2 to 3. Genesis 2 deals more with kind of what some people call a second creation story, and Genesis 3 deals with the fall of humanity. I've kind of upgraded my surroundings here. I've got more of a table so I don't have to reach down and grab things. I've got my New King James Bible here, and then I bought a NIV Bible. I've used an app on my phone to read through the NIV, but since I'm using my phone to make these videos, I wanted a hard copy. And I also have my notebook here to help keep me on track. So I'm going to open my NIV and start with Genesis 2, verse 4. And it begins, This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the grounds, but streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Now I'm going to stop right here. If you remember back to Genesis 1, we're going through the 7 days of creation. This isn't really talking about when God said, "Let there be light." He's not talking about the separation of the chaos waters. It's kind of picking up at the end, but in reverse. It's picking up, we're talking about humanity being created before animals, before vegetation. This is kind of picking up around 3 to 6, according to the days. So the days were just kind of swapped around, and it's talking more about the dry land versus chaos waters, and kind of more like a desert. And also, this is more of an account of a more intimate forming and creation of humanity, versus in Genesis 1, it's just saying that God created humanity and here they are. This is more intimate, talking about how God formed man out of the dust of the earth and breathed the breath of life into his lungs. So it's just touching base with a more intimate, creation of mankind. So I'm going to go back now and pick up at Genesis 2, verse 8. Now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man he had formed. The Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now right here, it says that this is a garden in Eden, meaning that it's a garden in the area of Eden. Coming on down throughout here, it's going to refer to the Garden of Eden, which is what I grew up understanding. But it's really just talking about it's a garden in the area of Eden. Picking back up at verse 10. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 head waters. The names of the first one were Pishon. Don't know if I said that right. You have to forgive me. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of the lands is good. Aromatic, resin, and onyx are also there. The name of the second river is Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east side of Ashur. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Now, as far as these rivers go, we know where the Euphrates and Tigris. I mean, I grew up going to school and taking geography or, social studies and seeing, where the Euphrates and Tigris are kind of located, but not the other two. The other two, we don't know where they're at. There's speculation about that. So continuing on, verse 15. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. I'm going to pause here again. As Christians, we all try to, there's a lot of focus put on the 10 Commandments. But even before the 10 Commandments, there was one commandment before that. And that was this right here. God commanded Adam to not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Continuing on, verse 18. The Lord God said, it is not good for a man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him. Now the Lord God hath formed out of the ground all the wild animals, all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave the names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall asleep. And while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man, and the man said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. So that's going to close out Genesis 2. And like I said, this is just kind of a more intimate telling on how Adam and Eve were both created, which is just all humanity all together. Now here we see the humans, they're in the garden, and they're supposed to be there to help God. Humanity was created to rule alongside God. And we're going to see here in Genesis 3 where all that goes wrong. So starting in Genesis 3, now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die. You will certainly not die, the serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made a covering for themselves. Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some of the fruit, the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate it." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To the woman he said, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." To Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return." Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all living things. The Lord God made garments of skin for animals and his wife, and clothed them. And the Lord God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take from the tree of life and eat, and live forever." So the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. So that was the fall. And there's a certain thing that's going to continue to happen as continue to read through the Bible. There are certain callbacks to certain things that as we go through, you'll see that history repeats itself time and time and time again. The man blamed his wife. The wife blamed the serpent. No one was taking responsibility for what they had done. And you're going to continue to see things where instead of the man trusting in God, he trusted in his wife. Or instead of the wife trusting in God, she relies on others to help herself. There's going to be a lot of issues as we continue on reading through this of where people fail time and time again because they were not putting their trust and faith in God alone and decided to trust themselves and do what they thought was right. And I know, I speak from experience, I'm guilty of that. I'm very guilty of that. I know a lot of people out there the same way. But through the sacrifice that Jesus Christ has made for us, we are saved. I want to thank you for your time. I enjoy making these videos. I hope you enjoy watching them. I'm going to try to be posting 2 videos a week, God willing. I'm gonna try to post more like a shorter video on Wednesday, and then every Saturday I will be posting these Bible study and read through videos. Thank you for all your support, and as always, God bless you.